Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 3, Episode 12, White Lies and Black Eyes. Okay guys, first of all, I hope you enjoyed your holidays, and at the time you're seeing this, it will be 2023. I'm not huge into like New Year's resolutions. If you guys have a New Year's resolution for 2023, go ahead and leave it in the comments and maybe you can inspire the rest of us to come up with something good. In general, I will just say, I really hope that 2023 is kinder and gentler to all of us. I just feel like collectively we could all use a little more happiness and joy. So that's what I wish for 2023. All right, so I missed last week because my daughter was in town and I thought I was going to have to be doubling up to catch up, but alas, there is no new episode on this week. So I'm going to be just fine. This is my recap of episode 12, and then episode 13 isn't airing until next week, so I should be all caught up. All right, let's get into the episode. As you recall, we were left on quite the cliffhanger. It was the morning after a lot of partying, and Heather has a giant swollen black eye, for which we were left to speculate on how that black eye came to be. The episode ended just as she was showing Jen and Meredith, and we don't know how it happened yet. I gave a couple of theories. One, which would be the best case scenario, that Whitney just hauled off and punched her. I know that sounds bad for a best case, but I just mean it in terms of like your television viewing pleasure. And what I thought was the worst case, which was she just fell. It was just like a drunken fall or an accident, you know. And they were all drunk. And I thought that Jen had spent the night in her room because she had said, come to my room. And I thought, who knows, maybe while they were sleeping, she got an elbow to the eye. I thought it was probably going to be something along those lines, not very dramatic. What I didn't expect was what we seem to be getting in this episode. Well, let's just get into it. It's the next morning. Jen is waking up in her own bedroom, so already I was wrong about that. Meredith wakes up in her room. The two of them meet in the hall, just like walking zombies. Then we get a text exchange. Now, not the same text exchange that we got at the end of episode 11, which was from Heather to Meredith, please come to my room. This is from Heather to Jen. She's like, I have a problem. I'm serious. Please come to my room. And Jen texts back, coming now. So Jen walks in. We get a close-up of like a dead piece of pizza and, you know, a dead Marilyn Monroe wig on the ground. Just kind of setting the scene for us to let us know that it was a rough night all the way around. So Jen's like, what? She's concerned. Kind of. Jen is kind of concerned. Heather's acting very dramatic, like long pauses. She's got dark sunglasses on. And Jen's just like, what? What's going on? And Heather slowly reveals this big swollen purple eye, swollen shut, full false eyelashes on. And, you know, purpley, bruisey looking eye. Now, Jen Shah, let me just say that, you know, everyone reacts differently to things, but to me, Jen is not acting like somebody who is seeing this eye for the first time. It could just be that that is how she's reacting. She doesn't think it's that shocking. I don't know. Maybe she's seeing it for the first time and it just isn't that surprised by it. Two, and this has happened before with Real Housewives in production, maybe they did this scene and I don't know, let's say the audio was no good and they're making the ladies recreate the scene. That's entirely possible. I once saw a scene on Real Housewives of New Jersey where it was a conversation, I believe, between Dolores and Jackie, although don't hold me to that. And every time they would cut to Dolores, she was wearing a necklace, not wearing a necklace, wearing it again, not wearing it. So there was some continuity issues. And it was clear to me that they had to reshoot that scene. So that's possible. Jen couldn't really muster the shock the second time. I don't know. They're not actors. That's possibility number 2. And possibility number 3 is Jen knows what happened to her eye. She might not have seen how it swelled up overnight, but she might know what happened. Or it's something I'm not even thinking of, because clearly this whole entire episode is going in a direction that I never even thought of. So, surprise, surprise, I know nothing. So anyway, Jen, who I believe we are supposed to think she's seeing this black eye for the first time, says, "What happened? Can I touch it?" Why? Why would you ask to touch somebody's swollen shut black eye? That feels like a bad idea. Heather's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And she goes, "Does it hurt?" "Yeah, of course it hurts," Heather says. Let me just say this. You're Heather, and you wake up and you've got this eye swollen shut. And a woman with like 4-inch stiletto nails wants to come in and touch that eyeball. Are you going to say, "Yeah, go ahead"? Or are you going to say, "I don't think you need to touch it"? Anyway, all Jen says after that is, "Yeah, I think we need to get some ice." She pulls this tiny little thing out of the freezer, which, by the way, because Heather's in that little casita that's above the garage or whatever, there happens to be a refrigerator in her room. So, I don't know what she pulled. It looks like the world's tiniest steak, but I have a feeling it's just one of those gel packs for like puffy eyes or something. So Heather puts that like underneath her sunglasses and kind of has it holding there. And then Heather either notices, or she's just showing for the first time, these like scratch marks on her arm. So she's kind of lifting her shirt and showing that. And then Heather says, "It's just lipstick." And Jen's finally like, "No, that's not lipstick. Like, those are scratches." Heather, it's your body. You can't tell if your skin has been scratched or if that's lipstick? What? So anyway, after the whole conversation of seeing it for the first time, asking to touch it, putting ice on it, having to tell Heather what's on her arm is scratches, not lipstick, we finally get around to Jen saying, "What the hell happened?" And this is the response that was not on my bingo card when I was trying to guess what might happen. Heather says, "Well, I don't want anyone to get in trouble, Jen. That's why I asked you here to help me figure out if somebody else wants to talk about what happened last night." Someone meaning Jen? Like, what? Then Heather says, "We need a cover story," is what I'm saying right now. Heather is saying she needs Jen to help her come up with a cover story as to why her eye is swollen shut, to tell the other ladies, to protect who exactly? I mean, it's got to be Jen, right? Why would she call Jen in? In other words, why didn't Heather come up with a cover story for Jen? No, she called Jen to help her come up with a story. So it has to be that she knows that Jen knows how her eye got like that and why they need to come up with a cover story and not tell the truth. Well, there's only really one logical explanation for that, and that is that Jen did it, and she doesn't want Jen to get in any more trouble than she's already in, because, she could be going to jail. But I will say, with all my guesses before Christmas about how things could have laid out for this episode, I never saw it playing out like this, or Heather was not going to tell us what happened. Okay, so Jen, who doesn't have any idea what happened to Heather's eye, right? Jen is immediately on board with coming up with a cover story. I'm just asking you guys to think about this for 1 second. Heather calls you to her room. You see this eye for the first time. You're shocked. And then she says, "We need to come up with a cover story." And you're not going to say, "What? Why? What happened?" I mean, Jen knows what happened then, right? That's the only thing that makes sense. But okay, suspension of disbelief here. Let's go with the fact that Jen has no idea what happened, but immediately she's like, "A spider laid eggs in your eyeball, or you might have poison in your eye." Heather's like, "Spider poison?" Jen, "Yeah, people die from that." Heather goes, "I texted you to come over here and help me, not say a spider laid eggs in my eyeball." I don't think that story's going to fly. Jen's like, no, I'm just going through the options. Now, in spite of the fact that this is insane, I do think this scene is funny. Then we get some more ideas in Jen's confessional. Heather ate peanuts and she has a peanut allergy, and then she rubbed her eye. So she has a peanut allergy. The eating of the peanuts was fine. It was the rubbing of the eye later where the trouble started. Oh God, another idea was she swiped right on Tinder, invited someone over, and it got rough. That one is actually plausible. Her last one, Heather got into a bar fight. Bitch, you went out without me? So, I mean, Jen's being kind of funny, but also when you think about the fact that Jen is probably the one that caused that I don't know. So back in the room, Heather's like, okay, well, we'll put spider eggs on the list. We need a good cover story for this eye because I don't want any of the ladies getting in trouble. This is so dumb. And it's a little frustrating. They end up with, just say you don't know what happened. So yeah, Heather's like, yeah, I just woke up like this. I have no idea what happened. That's how they end up, like that's going to be their cover story. Which, by the way, you idiots, that story should have been a no-brainer. You were so drunk last night. Either that or she fell and hit her eye. It's just something very fishy is going on with Heather. The things Heather is saying are in direct opposition to the things Heather is doing. So what she's saying she wants to do is protect this person who punched her in the eye or whatever. She wants to protect that person, so she wants to come up with a cover story. Yet, if she really wanted to protect that person, she wouldn't be having the conversation with that person on camera, number one. Number two, it would have been so easy to just say, oh, rough night last night, you guys. I don't even know what happened. I'm sure I fell. I have no idea. End of story. But she's being cagey and weird, and you'll see it gets even worse later. So now they summon Meredith. And this is the part we saw at the very, very tail end of episode 11 with the text message to Meredith, can you please come to my room? And then Meredith comes to the room, and Meredith has what I consider a real genuine reaction to seeing someone's big closed shut black eye for the first time. Meredith goes, we were all with you till 4 a.m. last night. Okay, roll footage. It was actually 4:50, a rattle on the door handle of Heather's room. Heather immediately opens the door, and in comes Meredith, Jen, and Angie K. All three of these women come in at 4:50 a.m. And, you know, there's more topless fun. And I don't see a timestamp, but at some point they all leave and Heather closes the door after them. So nobody spent the night in Heather's room. They all spent the night in their own bedrooms. Now, I will say this, after all three ladies left, we couldn't really see Heather's eye. So like, could she have gotten hit in the eye before they left and, you know, like it didn't swell up yet? Yeah, because we didn't even really see her eye after that. So Meredith goes, how did that happen? And Heather goes, well, we don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. This is so confusing, but I guess because she and Jen's cover story is that they don't know what happened. So are they just using the cover story on Meredith for the first time to see how that goes over? Maybe. So Jen's like leaves and she's like, stay with her because like she shouldn't be alone. Meredith stays behind. Now it's just Meredith and Heather in Heather's room. You know, Heather, who doesn't want to get anybody in trouble, is now lifting her shirt sleeve again to show the scratches on her arm to Meredith. Now, tell me if this is weird. Meredith goes, do you have scratches on your back too? What? Why would you say that? If somebody showed you a bunch of scratches on their arm, would your first reaction be, do you also have scratches on your back? I never would have thought to ask that question. Why did you ask that question? What do you know, Meredith, about the night before? Maybe Meredith saw Jen hit her. Anyway, the only thing stranger than asking her, do you have scratches on your back too, is that Heather says, yes, I do. Okay, what's going on here? So now Meredith is like, well, I was thinking maybe you fell, but then with the scratches on your arm, how did this happen? Heather, I don't want to talk about it. Oh my God, Heather, what happened to the cover story? All you had to say was, I don't know how it happened. That was your cover story to protect your friend or, whoever you're protecting. And now suddenly you're not protecting her anymore. You just say, I don't want to talk about it. This is what's pissing me off. Heather is so she either just loves the drama of it or she really secretly wants this person to get in trouble. Actually, you know what I think it is? As I think about it right now, I think Heather wants that person, Jen, to step up and tell the truth. And you know what? It ain't happening. I can tell you that right now. She swindled the elderly and didn't step up on her own to do the right thing. She's not going to do the right thing on her own. If you're covering for her, I promise you that Jen thinks that that's just what a friend does. She is not going to out herself. So maybe that's kind of pissing Heather off. And that's why Heather isn't doing such a great job of covering. I don't know. It's just, it's bizarre and ridiculous to me, the way Heather's acting. If you want to say what happened, then tell us what happened. Don't pretend that you really want to protect somebody, because I don't think you do. Then Heather goes, I don't know what happened. I don't recall. She's acting like she's on the witness stand in a bad movie where it's obvious that they do recall. I think Heather wants Meredith to know that she does know what happened, but that she's protecting her abuser. I think Heather likes that. I think she wants to play this role, this sort of, is it victim or martyr? I don't know. I think Heather wants to play this role of, I'm such a good friend. You won't hear it from me. If this person wants to come forward, they can, but you will never hear it out of me first. I don't know. I don't like it. It bugs me. Pick a lane. You want to be a good friend, then be the good friend and stick to your story of I don't know what happened. Don't make it so dramatic. Okay, then we see San Diego, day 3. How is it day 3? Nothing is even really happening on this trip. How is it 45 episodes long? Now Lisa and Whitney are talking in Whitney's room. She's putting her makeup on. And Whitney's not only upset about Heather and the dinner the night before, but she's upset with Meredith. Because at that dinner, Meredith said, Whitney, you said that I brought up the thing with Lisa when it was you that brought it up. So that pissed off Whitney. And Whitney's like, Meredith is so good at being a manipulator. All she does is allude to things like there's trouble in Lisa's marriage. And then she gets others, Whitney, to say it for her. Then she can have clean hands. I didn't say it. Yeah, I mean, she's right about that. So now everyone is meeting in the common, the living room, I guess, and they're waiting to head out to do their activities for the day. When Heather gets there, she's wearing sunglasses and then tells us that she doesn't want to talk about the eye. How do I know that she's going to bring up that eye the first chance she gets? But no, in her confessional, it's, I don't want to bring up the eye. I don't even want to be here. I don't want to draw attention to myself. Sure you don't. So actually it's Whitney that says, so tell us about last night, because we heard a lot of commotion. Oh, I should say this. Lisa said that Jen came to her room topless and got on top of her, and Lisa felt like she was suffocating. So now Whitney is saying, what happened last night? There was a lot of commotion and nobody came to my room topless. Blink, blink. That's all the prompting Heather needs to say, well, we're not sure what happened, but we do know things got a little rough. Whitney, what do you mean? Heather, well, I think we all know what happened. We just don't want to talk about it. What? Here's the thing, Heather, you do want to talk about it. You really want to talk about it. You would love to tell us exactly what happened. It's killing you that the person who did it won't come forward. You're going to have to be the bad guy and come forward yourself. I know you don't want to. I mean, you want us to know. You just don't want to be the one to tell us. You really wish Jen would do it, but she won't. But also, tell us or shut up. I don't even really care anymore. So then we get the dramatic removal of her sunglasses. Whitney, oh my God. Now that's somebody who hasn't seen it before. Jen, that's how you do it. I do not believe Whitney is the person that Heather is protecting. I don't think Whitney left her room last night. Lisa is equally shocked. So I also don't think it's Lisa that we're protecting. Dana, nobody even knows that Dana's still on this trip. So I don't think it's Dana either. And also, even though Jen is the most logical person, I just think it was goofing around. It was roughhousing when you were flat out drunk, ladies, and somebody tripped and fell. Maybe Jen fell on top of her. Maybe Jen's elbow did knock her in the eye. I just think it was an accident. I don't think they got into a huge fight. And if they did, there's no way Heather would protect her like this. In Heather's confessional, the producer asks, "How do you think it happened?" And Heather goes, "Well, I mean, what does it look like?" "It looks like someone attacked you." Is that what you're saying? So Heather tells everybody in the living room that she doesn't know what happened. And Lisa in her confessional is like, "I'm sorry, did you get some short-term memory loss with that black eye? Because literally 5 seconds ago, you just said, I think we all know what happened, but we just don't want to say." So, you guys, that, and then she's being coy with the producers in her confessionals. It's like, ugh. So Heather says to the ladies, "I don't think it's that noticeable, do you?" And Lisa goes, "Heather, are you kidding? It looks like somebody clocked you." Heather, well, maybe they did, and they just don't want to talk about it. Is that how you protect your friend? Also, Bravo, I swear to God, just show us the footage. Did you notice how we saw the timestamp of 4:38 and then 4:50 a.m.? We saw all of that. We saw the ladies come into the casita. We saw them leave. We saw all of that. Do you remember how on Beverly Hills, when they were in Aspen, supposedly there was no footage of Kathy Hilton's rant because the camera crew went home for the night? This is proof right here that I'm not losing my mind. The camera crew doesn't need to be there. If you have installed night vision cameras like you did in every other trip for other franchises and including this one here in San Diego. So why wasn't there anything like that? Either one in the Sprinter van or one in Kyle's house in Aspen. I mean, come on. That's the kind of footage that Beverly Hills should have had. And, I don't know, maybe did have. I'm just saying, maybe Kathy Hilton does have a little more pull than others would like to believe. I don't know. But we do have some overnight footage here. So just show us what happened to her eye. Are you saving it for later? Anyway, so after that inflammatory remark by Heather, well, maybe somebody did clock me and they don't want to talk about it. Heather just doesn't want to make the trip about her black eye. And then, I didn't even think about this, but in Whitney's confessional, she's like, seeing Heather laugh it off after alluding to the fact that maybe somebody hit her is making me physically sick. Yeah, I get that. I didn't really think about it in terms of somebody who suffered abuse or, seems to believe that they have discovered that they were abused. And now seeing Heather just kind of, I like to sweep it under the rug when somebody abuses me. Yeah, I can see how that might be upsetting. Okay, so we are all going in go-karts right now. Side note, I think it's weird that these things are street legal. Because I really don't think these housewives should be on the street with regular traffic and, pedestrians and stuff, where they just seem like they don't quite know how to operate them. I don't know. I'm just saying Whitney seems to be the best at a lot of these activities, and she didn't even know how to go in reverse. So some guy had to get out of his car and push the go-kart back so that she could just go forward. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It just feels a little dangerous. Anyway, they were going 2 by 2, except Whitney. There was an odd number of ladies. And Heather says that she picked Lisa to get in a go-kart with because she knew that Lisa would just talk about herself the whole time. So then we get this montage where we see the other pairs of ladies. What do you really think happened to Heather's eye? Yeah, I don't know. And then somebody else. It looks like she got hit. Yeah. And then in Lisa and Heather's go-kart, Lisa's driving and it's just like a running commentary on Lisa's life. Okay, so after that, the ladies split into 2 groups. Lisa, Whitney, and Dana go roller skating, and the other ladies go to a winery. At the wine tasting, the ladies are served yet another charcuterie board, which Heather is like, enough with the rolled cheese and the little group of grapes and stuff. Can I just have food that requires utensils? That's all I ask. The skater girls stop for ice cream and they have a little chat. Whitney thinks that if somebody did hit Heather, it would be Jen because their relationship is toxic. Whitney speculates that it could be that Heather's covering up for Jen because she thinks it'll look bad for her trial, which that's kind of the conclusion I came to also. I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else. So at the wine tasting, Meredith goes, "Listen, Heather, what happened to you is not right on any level. It's just not okay." And Heather, who, I don't want to talk about it, but gently lifts her sleeve to show the scratches again, just in case Angie K didn't notice them. The camera actually does pan to Jen after Heather shows her scratches. She does seem to be making a weird face, but it could be the way they just, spliced a scene together. I'm not sure. Back in her confessional, Heather is telling the producer, "I'm not going to tell what happened until somebody else says it first." Yeah, we know, but they won't ever. I promise you, that person that you want to come forward right now, as we speak, is trying to figure out how to get baby spiders to come out of your eyeball. They're not going to come forward with the truth. Heather manages to turn that conversation into how Whitney put them on a friendship break without her even realizing it. Jen, I don't know, I guess they're talking about Whitney and Lisa being close with each other. And Jen is like, they're both going through something. I don't know if she's trying to equate Justin losing his job to Lisa filing an SEC and doing like crowdfunding for $25,000. That Meredith is like, oh yeah, she jumps on that topic. Then you cut to the skaters and Dana tells Lisa that when she was at Meredith's house that she brought up the SEC filing. And, Lisa's getting madder and madder. And she's like, okay, the SEC filing is public record, but it's not on Vita. It's on like a different brand that they're starting or something. And also, why is Meredith obsessed with me? She just thinks, and probably rightly so, that Meredith is trying to take her down because of the hot mic moment. All right, so now the ladies who were at the wine tasting are in the Sprinter van. They're heading back to the house. It's dark out. I don't know how long they were gone, but Angie K decides that she wants a just more in-depth explanation of what an SEC filing is. So yeah, let's keep that conversation alive here. Thanks, Angie K. But everyone really, Heather, Meredith, and Jen are really all willing and able to throw their 2 cents in as to what this is. And basically trashing Lisa for, if you're the richest bitch in this group, then what are you crowdsourcing for $25,000? Like, that's the last thing I would want to do. And Meredith's like, yes, at this stage in my life, I would not want to be crowdfunding. Anyway, I guess Angie K, she is hosting the dinner that night, and it's like a Greek goddess theme. And so all the ladies are getting ready and into their costumes. And Angie K comes into Lisa's room. And Lisa has chosen Helen of Troy. And what she's wearing is, it looks like Chanel. It's kind of that tweedy, I guess. Is it tweed or is it denim? Because later Heather makes a comment. Anyway, whatever it is, it's pants and a little matching like bralette, just like Helen of Troy. Bravo gives us a side-by-side of the real Helen of Troy and Lisa's version. Oh, God. Anyway, Lisa mentions that Dana said that, Meredith, I guess, really was talking about her SEC filing. And then Angie K goes, oh, Well, yeah. They were all talking about it. And so then, of course, that gets Lisa all fired up again. Not that she needed to be more fired up because she was already upset. But then Angie K, I don't even understand her confessional. She was something about Meredith and how she likes to wear feathers. And then we see a little montage of all the times that Meredith is in some big floofy, feathery thing. And then Angie K says something like, birds of a feather flock together, but these are seagulls. And everyone hates seagulls because they shit on people. Okay. Anyway, the ladies start meeting in the backyard and a beautiful table is set up. And when Heather comes down, she's got an evil eye patch on. They're like, where did you get that? And she goes, oh, Jen and Angie K, like they just put it together for me. And Lisa's like, she had an eye patch? Who travels with an eye patch? Which is a good question. I mean, honestly, I'm an overpacker. I'm trying to be better at it. But the one thing I have never packed for vacation, an eye patch. And now I probably will. Anyway, in Heather's confessional, she's making fun of Lisa. She's like, Lisa, how did you come up with this outfit? When you Googled Helen of Troy, what did like a picture of Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake at the Grammys come up? Oh, anyway, so it wouldn't be a Housewives dinner without somebody saying they didn't want to be there. And this time it is Lisa. She doesn't want to be there at all, particularly after hearing what the ladies were saying about her behind her back. Angie K is the last one to arrive, being carried by Zeus and Hercules. If, you know, Zeus and Hercules were adorable young gay boys. Anyway, she starts by thanking everyone for coming and what a wonderful trip it is. And she has a little gift for everyone. And it's evil eye necklaces for all. So I'm sorry, it sounds like Angie K had the whole evil eye theme going. And that's why, I don't know, maybe they just fashioned an eye patch out of a little glittery evil eye patch that they had. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Then we talk about each other's days. Oh, how was the winery? How was the roller skating? And once again, it is time for Whitney to just get it all out in the open, which seems to be her forte. Whitney. So, who brought up about Lisa's SEC filing? Silence. Lisa. Yeah, why is everybody so worried that I filed an SEC? Meredith. Meredith. Well, no one's really worried about it. Which is true. I don't think anyone's worried. And Lisa goes, then why do you have to keep talking about it? Meredith, I really only mentioned it in passing. So Heather basically calls out Angie K for having to run to Lisa and tell her what they talked about in this burner van, which, you know, honestly, Angie K is the one that brought it up again. And, you know, Angie's just like, well, you're her friends and you're talking about her. And I didn't think it was right. Anyway, whatever. This all kind of turns back into the Meredith and Lisa fight. Lisa's like, you know, you're still punishing me for the rant, which I already apologized for. Meredith, you endangered the lives of Seth's 4,000 employees. Which I still can't. I remember there was a thin thread that led Meredith to say that Lisa's careless remark about Seth not having a real job or can't stay at one place for very long, that, you know, that didn't look good for his company. And he's got 4,000 employees. And can you imagine all their friends and families? But like, it didn't endanger their lives or anything. It was a leap. It was a leap that Meredith was willing to take. I don't even remember exactly the train of thought that led it there. We also flash back to, you know, the first trip in Scottsdale, which, good Lord, that seemed like a long time ago. Oh, when I try and work back. So we've been in San Diego for 4 months. And then prior to that, they were in Salt Lake City. I mean, I feel like we've been filming for maybe 2.5 years. For season 3 here. So yeah, the Scottsdale trip was in 2017, I believe. Anyway, we flash back to that where Meredith is suggesting that the only way forward for the two of them is for Lisa to get help. to get some kind of help. And if she needs help with that, Meredith is there for her. And of course, Lisa resents that. And so now Meredith is basically saying, yeah, you shut that down. So I don't see a path forward for the two of us, really. In Meredith's confessional, she claims that it was not just the behind the door rant that was caught on a live mic. Lisa has done a multitude of things to me, like talking behind my back or not reaching out to me when I told her that my father was dying, or canceling my makeup artist at the 11th hour during a pandemic when I can't get anyone else. What was that all about? How was Lisa able to cancel your makeup artist? And where were you going during a pandemic? No. So finally, Whitney's like, the question is, how do we move forward when at the end of the day, we really love each other? And Heather's like, well, we have to put the petty aside. And guys, I think my eye might be a metaphor for our friendships. We woke up. We don't understand what happened, where it all came from. Sometimes we wear a patch. Sometimes we let it all out. Everyone's like, okay. In her confessional, again, the producer says to Heather, okay, so you don't remember how it happened? And Heather goes, I didn't say that. I didn't ever say that. I didn't say I don't remember how it happened. I just said I'm not talking about it. That's the first rule of Fight Club. Then we cut back to the dinner table and Whitney said, how did you get the black eye? Heather, if anyone does a secret knock on your door, don't answer. What? Then she says, to be fair, I'm still unclear exactly what happened to my eye. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to keep bringing it up and then saying I don't want to talk about it. So I'm just going to keep doing that until finally the person who did this to my eye will just snap and blurt it out. And the final thing is, in Heather's confessional, the producer says to her, why do you not want to talk about it? Who are you trying to protect? Long pause. Heather, myself. To be continued. Oh my God. Well, guys, like I said, in all the scenarios that I had worked out, it's going to be either this or this or this. This is best case. This is worst case. No, I was wrong. There was a worse than the worst case I had. And it's this. It's that Heather's going to be coy, not say who did it, but she wants to say who did it. And it's too much. I no longer care what happened to your eye. In fact, somebody I read, was it on Two Teas in a Pod? The Tamra and Teddy podcast? Maybe. Tamra said that Heather went on that trip with a red eye, like she had something wrong with her eye, like an infection or something, and that she thinks it got worse, and she woke up that morning with a swollen eye. I mean, that's a theory, I guess. It doesn't explain the scratches. She also claims to have scratches on her back. I mean, I don't even want to speculate anymore. I think I don't care. And I'm sort of angry that it's being, drawn out this long. The only satisfying answer at this point would be maybe a bad Tinder date and that we can maybe get this guy arrested. Maybe that would feel slightly satisfying. I don't know. Anyway, as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. A, what do you guys think happened to her eye? And B, do we care? That's what I'm wondering at this point. All right, that is it for me. As always, thank you. Oh, let me just say thank you to my Amazon shoppers who used my code. I'm getting a nice check next month. Every bit helps. And I just really appreciate you going through the trouble of, like I said, in the description underneath this video, you might have to click on more a couple of times until you see all the things I have listed. And once you use one of those links to get you into Amazon, anything you purchase, I will get a small credit for. So I know a lot of you guys have been doing it because I've been getting a couple of nice checks. So thank you Thank you so much for going through all that trouble for me. And yeah, as always, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And if you would like a notification every time I have a new video, please click on the bell icon. And that's it for me. Happy 2023. I hope it is an amazing year for all of us. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.